My spoiled sister is demanding I make her the CEO of my company because my parents said so. Big mistake. I'm 25 years old and my sister is 23. My parents have always babied her from a young age. If I had the newest gadget, my sister would throw a fit, and I would have to give it to her. When I worked multiple jobs to buy myself a used car, my sister threw a fit, and my parents bought her a brand new car that she ended up crashing. Growing up with her was unfair, and I blame my parents for raising her to be a spoiled brat. By the time I turned 18, I had enough of my family and ended up moving out. Of course, my sister mocked me and told me that my dad said they could merge my room into hers to make it bigger. I rolled my eyes and told them I was done with the family. I got a job as a mechanic through a friend of mine and had experience since I had practiced fixing the car I bought back in high school. For the next 4 years, I didn't have contact with my family and worked hard at the shop. By the time I was 22, I decided to open my mechanic shop and quickly became profitable through connections and social media marketing. I finally had something to call my own and was proud of my hard work. 3 years went by, and I ended up opening another shop at a busy location. I also started selling used cars, which also became profitable. I was doing well for myself and considered myself very successful for my age. Recently, I got a call from my other location saying someone was looking for me. It was my parents and sister. I hadn't heard from them in years, and all three of them just showed up at my shop unexpectedly. I drove 15 minutes to my other shop and saw them waiting in the lobby. They saw me, and my parents hugged me, saying they hadn't seen me in a while. My sister hugged me and told me she missed me. For a moment, I thought they had changed and were trying to make amends, but I was wrong. In my office, my parents told me I had grown very successful. I smiled and told them it was through hard work and dedication. That's when they started explaining that my sister had dropped out of college and had been unemployed since. They said my sister had seen my mechanic shop's Instagram page and wanted to be the boss. I was speechless and started laughing. "You must be joking," I said. My dad looked at me with a blank stare and said I could still work as a mechanic, but my sister would be the boss instead of me. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I looked at them in total disbelief and asked if they were all thinking correctly. I asked in what universe it would be fine to give my sister the business I worked hard for. As I continued yelling, my sister started preparing to throw a tantrum. She began crying and looked at my dad with sad puppy eyes, saying she didn't have a job and that my dad promised she would be a boss. I angrily asked my dad why he was raising her like this. I told him that if my sister wanted to become a boss, she should start her own business. My dad yelled back, trying to lecture me, saying I should help my family. I told them all to leave my shop and never return. I thought that would be the end of it until the following week when I arrived to drop off lunch for my workers. To my surprise, my sister was inside my office, sitting in my chair. She asked what I was doing there. I angrily told her to get out of my shop immediately, or I would call the cops. She argued that my dad told her I agreed to their demands to make her the new boss. I took a deep breath and told her firmly to leave, or I would call the cops. She didn't budge, so I called the cops and explained the situation. Despite their arrival, my sister still claimed she had every right to be there. They had no choice but to arrest her for trespassing on my property. After the arrest, I took legal action to ensure she wouldn't bother me again. I obtained a restraining order and set legal boundaries to protect me and my business. My parents called me afterward, yelling at me. I told them all to go to hell and to enjoy the retirement home once they're old because my sister won't be there for them. But the drama didn't end there. 2 months later, I started receiving anonymous threats. Someone was vandalizing my shops, broken windows, slashed tires, graffiti. It was clear someone wanted to sabotage my business. I installed security cameras and hired night guards. One night, the cameras caught my sister and her friends breaking into my shop. They were caught red-handed, spray painting thief and traitor on the walls. I had no choice but to press charges. The situation got worse when my parents decided to sue me. They claimed that the business was partially theirs because they had raised me and supported me financially as a child. It was absurd, but they were relentless. The legal battle was draining, both financially and emotionally. I fought back with everything I had, presenting evidence of my hard work and independence since I moved out at 18. During the trial, shocking revelations came to light. It turned out that my parents had been manipulating my sister into believing that the business was rightfully hers, hoping that she would secure their financial future. They had squandered their savings on lavish lifestyles and had nothing left. My sister, desperate and naive, followed their lead. The court ruled in my favor, acknowledging my sole ownership of the business. My parents and sister were left with nothing. The judge even issued a stern warning to my parents for their manipulative behavior. As they left the courtroom, defeated, my sister tried one last time to guilt-trip me, saying I was abandoning my family. I looked her straight in the eye and said, "Family doesn't manipulate and destroy each other. I want nothing more to do with any of you." Months passed, and I focused on rebuilding my business and my life. I cut all contact with my sister and parents, ensuring they could no longer interfere with my hard-earned success. I learned to move on, focusing on the future and the life I chose to build, free from their toxic influence.